Windblown hair. Good afternoon. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. We are on uh, stream 3 today. Stream 3. A story out of, I don't even know. Where the hell do these people live? Somewhere in the South. Alabama, I think? Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yes? No? Alabama? Florida? Somewhere? Somewhere in the South? Alabama? Somewhere. Anyway. So today we're going to talk about Honey Boo Boo and her kind of alarming behavior on Instagram, actually on Facebook Live. She and her sister Pumpkin were streaming yesterday, and she had a bunch of people watching her. And if you remember, Miss Alana, or Honey Boo Boo, is not in her mother's custody anymore because Mama June was caught red-handed with her boyfriend Gino in a DV altercation, which ended up with them getting locked up for possession and having paraphernalia. So this all happened a couple months ago. If you remember, if you watched Mama June from Hot to Not, I don't know if you do. Sometimes I do. Other times I just look for the tea. This season was particularly terrible. June's behavior was spiraling out of control. She appeared sometimes very out of it. Her health was declining. And there was a lot of tiptoeing around whether or not, what was the root cause of all of these issues. The show actually ended with Alana moving out of her mother's home because June was so twistedly wrapped up in this relationship with Gino and had ended up basically getting addicted to something. They didn't really specify what it was. They were found with crack. And there was a lot of troubling stuff that goes on, a lot of verbally, like screaming, yelling. Gino is just not a very nice person. June is showing the same sort of behavior related to how she stayed with Sugar Bear forever and put Sugar Bear in front of her kids. And she's doing the same thing with Gino and putting the relationship. She's almost like addicted to the relationship. And as she got worse and worse and worse, Pumpkin stepped in and took over temporary custody of Alana. This was so she could get Alana back in school because June had actually pulled her daughter out of school to homeschool her, and Alana wanted to go back to school, but her mom was in no condition to do anything. Pumpkin actually got Sugar Bear to sign off on the temporary custody agreement because he wanted her to stay in the same area where the rest of her family and friends were. So Pumpkin's only 19 though, you guys. She's barely an adult. Barely. So, since then, June has been MIA. She has been unable to come back. I think they were actually arrested in Alabama. And she actually can't leave the state due to her pending charges. And so she's in another state. Alana's with her sister Pumpkin, and all the while there's all kinds of rumors swirling about, money being like sucked out of their accounts. Like Pumpkin on the last episode was talking about how Mama June is basically going broke because of the relationship and all of her addictions that she's facing at this point in time. Neither one of them appear to be getting healthy. If you recall, Gino actually had a Instagram Live a couple weeks ago where he was basically accusing Weed TV producers of making like exceptions and accusing them of knowing about what was going on behind the scenes but refusing to air it. He basically said that they saw him using and they knew he was, but they did nothing to stop it. They didn't turn him in. They saw the use. They knew what June was doing, and yet they continued to film. And now he's angry because apparently TLC doesn't want WeTV, doesn't want anything to do with these guys. And he said he was going to expose them and he needed help and blah, 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 blah. And it was a lot of rambling, and I just didn't really feel like talking about it because Gino just isn't the most reputable source, let's just say. June has not really spoken publicly since. So, long story short, Alana, or poor Honey Boo Boo, has been in quite the upheaval. And, you know, I think she's 14 years old now, and she has seen a lot in her life, and she's dealt with a lot. She's had a mother that's had multiple relationships that have not been healthy. And so earlier this week, or actually yesterday, she was on a live stream, and she was like in the middle of the live stream, and she was caught imitating her mother using drugs. So I'm going to play you the clip really quick. It's actually kind of sad. Oops, wrong one.
I'll show special. Well, you didn't tell me. Oh my god. So guys, we're gonna have to cut off the camera really quick, because I have to do something. I know. Alana, quit doing.
So I'll just rewind it one more time so you can see that.
I know. Alana, quit doing it. Don't even fucking mimic.
Okay. So basically she mimics her mother snorting. She puts a finger on her nose and she pretends like she's doing it. And this is like, man, this is all caught on camera. This is all like going on live. You can't even like, dude, my heart breaks. Like, imagine what this baby girl has seen. Her life has been a freaking mess because her mother is so, I don't even have the right words. Her mother's messy. Her mother is not all there, let's just say, hasn't made the best choices, and has put Alana's entire life in front of the camera. I mean, this is a girl that has been on, was started on TLC on what, Toddlers and Tiaras, and then got a spin-off, Honey Boo Boo, which then actually gets canceled because June is found having a relationship with a man that was convicted of doing things to one of her older daughters. Then when TLC finds out, they cut her. But then WeTV decides to pick her up and do a weight loss series where she goes from hot to not, and she has gastric bypass surgery. I believe she gets like the gastric sleeve. I don't think she had the full bypass, and she lost a ton of weight. And we remember, like, she said that at the time she was at the size 4. She looked really good. She had had a lot of surgery to get rid of all of the excess skin. But by season 2 of the same series, she had gained a considerable amount of that weight back. And then by this season, she was up, I think, over 100 pounds from the amount of weight she lost the first time, and was back to her same patterns with eating. Now, there is a lot of people that have this type of surgery are at risk for developing other addictions in the first few years following the surgery, because they essentially replace one addiction for the other. And so it can put people that are going through this without the proper support, without the proper therapy, without the proper healthcare follow-up, at a very vulnerable state. And apparently this is kind of where June fell into the mix. She replaced one thing for another. She gained a bunch of weight back. She got involved with a man into a unhealthy relationship. And she started just repeating the same patterns of her entire life. And Honey Boo Boo, for the first time, when she finally breaks up with Sugar Bear, Honey Boo Boo is like, oh, I'm going to finally get my mom back. June seems present. She's there. She's like a better mom. And then now this, it's really, really, really so sad. I don't know if she's trying to get a reaction from her sister, but given the fact of what she's been through in the last year, I really don't think it's that simple. I would say that this is probably more rooted in probably what she's seen. I mean, her own father, Sugar Bear, he's had his own issues as well. So this is a kid that's really, 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 been through a lot. And this is the reason why I struggle with why, after everything that happened with the first show with Honey Boo Boo and they got rid of her, why on earth would another network be like, yeah, this family would be appropriate for a second series and not expect other stuff to happen? It really frustrates me that we as a society can find a way to make stupid, not even stupid people, but people that should not be famous, and we on these shows, they are like rewarded for behaving badly. There's really no reason for them to behave well because ratings nobody tunes in to see, Mama June and Gino making dinner for their friends and like talking about the PTA. No, they're watching to find out what the next train wreck is going to be. And that's the aspect here that it's like, it would be fine if it was just Mama June doing this, or, really any parent or any adult that goes on to like reality TV. If you want to be crazy and you want to do ridiculous things and act terribly and there's nobody else involved but you, fine, go for it, do it. But if you're going to do this and then have a child involved who doesn't have a choice and who really doesn't get a childhood because of it. I mean, she's never had the opportunity to have her own life. She was pulled out of school because of like bullying and related, and stuff related to the show and like pageants. And it's just like, when has this little girl ever had a chance to be a kid? Now she's 14. She's not even living with her mother. She's living with her 19-year-old sister who's barely an adult. This family has been so, like, June really sold this family out, and these producers that picked up the show afterwards, after they had already lost a series on a different network, should really be ashamed of themselves. I feel like in 20 years we're going to start to see the ramifications of the children that are on these shows and the long-term consequences that they experience. It's probably going to be a lot like the child actors, but even worse, because with child actors, they're in a fictional state. These people have their entire lives on TV and they have no privacy. So, and we're seeing now the impact by how Alana is acting out. You are very correct, Lisa. We're also seeing it now with, Leah, Shirley, Amber's daughter, suffering from anxiety and panic attacks. There's just been so many children in this sphere that it really begs the question, like, should we really be having children on reality TV? Should children really be working as children? It's the same question I have for the families that put their kids on YouTube and have their kids working. Because YouTube even has the worst. I mean, YouTube holds none of these families accountable. You just have to say that you're going by child working labor laws, but nobody on YouTube's checking. So there's a lot of kids that are going to be, collateral damage here. So I really think, I'll take my medicine together. Yes, Lisa, that is the sister who had the baby. So yes, Pumpkin has, I believe, like a 1-year-old. And so this is the older sister that has the baby. I don't know what you're talking about, Lisa, with medicine together. So multiple outlets found this. I actually found the video on Instagram. TMZ reported it. They reached out to reps for Honey Boo Boo. No one answered. No one responded. This video is everywhere now. So even though she was like on a live stream and it was captured on Facebook, now it's all over on Instagram and it's on Twitter. It's on TMZ. It's on multiple websites now. So another reminder that just because you stream something online, just because it's online doesn't mean it goes away. I don't know what you're talking about, Lisa. I'm talking about you and your family. What medicine together? That doesn't even make sense. My family isn't a part of the show, and your question is completely irrelevant to this. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna go. I appreciate your questions, Lisa, so much for your thank you for your super chats. I'll keep you in the loop. I'm planning to do another stream later this afternoon. Bye, guys.